I just finished vending at the 626 night market in Arcadia, and I got some thoughts. As always, with all of my videos and the reviews that I do, I will be honest as usual, but I'm also going to be a little ranty, and you will see why in a second. But this event for me definitely was not worth it. Editor Viv here. Apologies if my voice isn't very loud during this video. I just finished moving. I forget if I talk about that in the video, but I just finished moving. I'm very tired and I am slowly recuperating and feeling what it's like to have a rhythm again and trying to get business stuff done again. So maybe just think of it as like ASMR. Yeah, we're gonna do that. So info about this market for those that haven't attended. This is the market, the 626 market in Arcadia, and I attended during the July 4th weekend, so it spanned over the course of 3 days. It happened on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday from, I believe, 4 to 11 p.m., which for me, I'm a person that likes to sleep early, so this was a very long and tiring event for me. This event features hundreds of vendors, usually food related, but there is also an art walk section, which was where I was placed. Food at this market spans from Asian street fair classics to more modern fusions like glowing baby bottle drinks or pho tacos. Let's start with the obvious question. How much was the booth? It was $900. $900. The flight ticket, materials that were used to make these products and time spent making them, as well as I guess the time to fly there, the time to prep, and that's not even considering like accommodations in your stay, which luckily I had covered for me because I stayed with my family, but those are already like over $1,000 in expenses. And of course I split my booth with Paper Rat, even though I guess we weren't supposed to, but $900? No way. I'm gonna split that table fee. It was only a 10 by 10 outside and you have to bring your own tent and tables. Again, luckily, because I have family that's staying in Cali and lives in Cali, I was able to get free accommodations. They also helped me with food and I was able to use their car. So if I didn't have that help, the expenses would have probably been reaching closer to 2K and I wouldn't have made like any profit at all. I would have been in the negatives instead. Thankfully, from all the support that I've gotten from my family also wanting to support me and get products from me and Danny, and also people that we got to meet during the event that were new faces, I've made a little over $1,200. So breaking that down with the booth fee and the flight, I think I made a profit of about $550. And for an event that ended up turning out like this, I'm really grateful that I was able to get any profit at all again. But it also made me think, like, what exactly happened to this event? Because there's artists that have attended this event before and I've heard mixed things about them, but I didn't expect the numbers to be this low. Because even when I go to my local events in Portland, like my last one I did, Legendary Makers Market, I made easily over $1,000 a day, and this was a local event, so I didn't have to pay any expenses except for the booth fee. And $900 again to like charge an artist for the art walk area is extremely expensive. That's more expensive than like Anime Expo tabling fees. The thing that really affected the experience for everyone was the heat. It was easily close to 90 degrees each day, but the sun was just blaring down on everyone because of the fact that the only shade there was available were the tents that the vendors had. Everywhere else it was just straight sun on asphalt. But more than that, what kind of threw me off was where I was placed. I paid and was placed in the art walk section, but honestly the booths around me didn't feel like fellow handmade artists. There were a lot of resellers, like obvious resellers, selling crochet from Temu, and so many Lafufu sellers. And don't get me wrong, everyone's hustling in their own way, but it made it feel really disappointing. What was advertised as an art walk felt more like a swap meet instead, and I was competing with that, and it didn't feel right. The way that they made the layout was also a little confusing because you have the food section here, and then I'm at the very end of the food section that is the supposed art walk, and then you have a gate which separates my booth from all the rest of them. So there was only maybe 10 to 15 in my line, and then once you cross this little like bridge gate area, Then you have all the rest of the market people that are selling their stuff that I actually found like other artists there too. So it was just very odd because the section that I was in almost felt like just an exit rather than something that you could browse, and I think that was something that also really affected sales too. I also suspected that the flow of the crowd would be this way, such as like, it's a night market, right? So I didn't really expect anyone to come until maybe a couple hours into the event. Since it started at 4, I was thinking, oh, maybe 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock when people are off of work or during the weekend, that's when people would come in. But it wasn't until maybe like 8 o'clock that we were starting to get consistent sales. And that was a little nerve-wracking because of the fact that there was only like 3 hours left of the event, and people usually didn't stay until 11, and if they did, they were like tipsy. Again, it also didn't help that it was very hot, so by the time that there was interactions and people coming in, me and Danny were just so out of it. We sweated our body weight, we were exhausted, but luckily we had a fan, so we were able to bring a fan into the booth that I brought from my family's house, and that really kind of saved us. But if we didn't have that, it would have been like a toaster oven. Actually, thinking back on it now, there were a lot of competing events that did happen during 626 and during that July 4th weekend. I know there was Foodie Land that was going on. There was also Anime Expo, which is huge, biggest convention for like anime lovers in America. And I was suspecting that obviously that was going to affect sales, but I noticed when I left my area in the art walk section and I went into the food section, it was like back to back. It was completely packed. So even though those events were happening, I don't think they severely affected the sales since it was still extremely busy. So I'm still not really sure what happened. I will say though, the people and friends that did stop by and supported my work and Danny's work, you all made a big difference during that slump that I found myself in. And the profit I made only came because real people chose to support artists like me and from my family to continue supporting what I do. So thank you. So for you art girlies that have attended this event before, how is 626 really like, or was your experience completely different if you attended the same dates as me? Like, is this the norm, or maybe I just got struck out of luck? I'm also really curious for those that have attended either in the past or just different dates of the year for 626, if it was also really heavy on like the reseller side, because I'm a little confused with how that kind of ended up working with like the process of, you know, it being called an art walk and then you got resellers. So maybe I just got out of luck with that one, but I was a little confused on how they screened and checked people. I'm also still confuzzled by the $900 that was paid. So for those that did attend, was it worth it for you? I'm really curious on how that whole process went. And at least for me personally, I don't think I would recommend it for someone that wasn't local there, because if something like that happens, at least you'll be able to bounce back or make profit easier because of the fact that you live in that area or you just have to drive there rather than flying and have all these other expenses piled on top of each other. Even though this event gave me a lot to think about, I'm still glad that I was able to attend because of the fact that I was able to see my family. So it was like, oh, a paid vacation. I got to see my family, see my dog over there, and some other friends that I haven't seen in a while. So that made it worth it. But yeah, that's the end of my rant. That's the end of my video. I hope that I'll be able to make more consecutive videos after this because I quit my part-time job, so this is my full-time job now. I also just recently moved, so I'll do a little studio tour soon since I have my own private space for art, but I am a little tired, hence the lull in my voice, but I will be making more videos soon, and thank you for watching. Bye bye.
Possibilities. Let's say you met your summer romance in